Hello, welcome to Smash Hit Sports. I'm Cody, that's Nick, and it is the greatest sports month of the year. It is March Madness. March has begun. It is March 2nd that we are recording this, but holy shit, Nick, it's already been off to an incredible start. It's like college basketball, and I feel this more about college basketball than any other sport, knows when it's fucking time. It knows when it's time, because we've had an incredible week of college hoops, and it is just leading up to what should be an incredible finale for the regular season. Awesome for mid-major madness. So this episode, we're going to recap last week. We're going to pick, I think, 20 mid-major conference champions that we're going to pick this episode, and then we're going to predict the games for next week. But what a week. Before we get started, make sure to like the video if you're watching on YouTube. It's the best way to help the podcast, and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing. But Nick, we had several Game of the Year candidates this past week.
Yeah.
3 buzzer beaters. Like, it was incredible.
We've had, honestly, a ton of Game of the Year candidates just, like, the past couple weeks, you know? And like, the Alabama-Tennessee game, I feel like, has to take the cake. Like, I was sitting there, like, is this, like, real life? Did I just watch? Like, that was, like, the passion and the physicality of that game, like, it just felt different. And to end like that was insane. So that's got to be my vote. I don't know what your vote.
And full credit to the Tennessee crowd. That crowd was insane the entire duration of that game, from start to finish, and like neither team could pull away. Like it was shot for shot, it was stop for stop, and like it was a great game in the sense that they didn't play like a Tennessee brand of game where like the final score would have been in the 60s or 50s, but they also didn't go full Alabama where the final score was 95-98. It was a perfect combination of the two. It was an incredible game.
Yeah, I mean, it was what, number 1 defense versus number 2 offense or whatever?
Yes. Unstoppable force meets a movable object. Like it was awesome.
Exactly.
And that is the beauty of college sports and college basketball specifically, because you have 2 completely different styles of game in the same conference that just, it led to a beautiful product. One of my favorite games all season, without a doubt.
Yeah, and then we had Michigan State, Maryland, you know.
Yep.
Which, as far as a moment, I think that as its individual moment is better than the Jemai Meshack shot.
Yeah.
Just because, like, it was, like, hectic. It wasn't off of a timeout or anything. Like in Gillespie shoots too early, and I felt it. I don't know about you, but I felt like, oh, my God, this is going in. Like, oh, my God.
Yeah, as soon as it came out of his hand, you're like, oh, shit.
The second I saw that he had, like, no one in front of him, I was like, oh, my God. And then just cash on the road in, like that was the biggest Maryland home game in a long time, as far as like what I've seen from an energy standpoint. Silencer, and it just like that had me jumping. That had me wanting to sprint around. The Tennessee shot, I just remember, like, I put my hand up. I was like, oh, bang, you know, like less. I was just appreciating the beauty of what I witnessed as a game there, but the Michigan State shot was like unbelievable.
Yeah, the chaos of that game was awesome. Like Tennessee, that shot ending up like they had to jump ball the previous possession, and then like inbounds play was still great. But yeah, that was outstanding. And then Michigan the next day wins on a buzzer beater as well. So we had buzzer beaters like 3 of the last 5 days of college basketball. It was just pure madness. Incredible.
Yeah. Yep, and I'm pretty sure like Temple, like there's probably been like 10,
who was it? Was it Temple USF? They had one.
Maybe, probably. It rings a bell. There's been a bunch. I mean, a good follow on Twitter is the just like NCAA buzzer beaters and game winners. I think that's just their profile, and they post every single one of them, male and female. And it's great.
Love it. Nick, I want to have this discussion real quick. Is there a better way to end a game? Like walk-off home run is up there. I think walk-off home run is one of the more special like things in sports, because there is no time associated with it in baseball. So like for that to end a game, I think is incredible and special. But I think a buzzer beater, like I think a buzzer beater is the best ending to any sporting event. Because like you
I
have
think,
overtime goal, there's shootouts, like
oh yeah,
sudden death
no,
stuff is great.
um,
In my mind, it's not football. Like I love football. Football's my number one, my day one. I
it's
love you,
certainly
baby.
not
But
football.
yeah,
I
it's
mean,
not.
like the kick six, but like that's so rare that that's its own entity. You can't, like or
Yeah.
like stuff like that. You can't compare it to a buzzer beater, which happens day in day out.
Mhm.
It'd be like a game-winning field goal in football, and that's
Yeah. Which
just
is
not.
not.
It doesn't compete. I think an unranked team hosting at home a top 10 team in conference play. Those buzzer beaters, nothing in the world better than that. Nothing in the world.
Yeah.
Nothing.
A
Like there are
tournament buzzer
scenarios
beater.
where
Oh,
it's like,
oh,
okay, you could argue like I don't know, something like crazy, like chipping in golf or something to win, or like hitting like a 40-foot putt. Like there's things that I can think of, like a last second header in soccer or something. I don't know, but as far as home team, you're unranked, you're hosting, you're like a bubble team. You need this win. You're hosting a top 10 team. You get them at home, and you get to court storm after. That is better than everything in the world.
would you rather that, or would you rather the low, like double digit seed in a NCAA tournament game that they were not supposed to win at all? You're taking the regular season
By a landslide. By a landslide. The energy is not even
in.
close.
I feel like in person it would be a significantly better experience for sure. But like
What would
watching on
be?
the couch, I
Oh, sure.
love a tournament game that ends on a buzzer beater. Just it
Yeah.
fills my
Oh,
life
yeah.
with joy.
Well,
But
they're always great. But if I were to choose to be somewhere, I would choose to be at Indiana for when Christian Watford hit that shot against number one Kentucky in 2011. I
fuck,
would choose to be there over anything, even genuinely, even the national championship game 2016 that ended in a buzzer beater.
the Natty is different. That game was unbelievable.
It was unbelievable. Yeah. But like, what do I
The
think
watch shot.
I would have reached? I would have reached a height of euphoria at that Indiana game, more so than I think I would have reached at the national championship game. I think I just would have been like, I mean, as an unbiased fan, this is mind you. If I was a Villanova fan, of course, I go to the national championship game. But just unbiased, I want to be in the freaking weeds. I want to be like, you're fucking sprinting onto the court. They didn't court storm at the national championship game.
Yeah,
Do that. You're
that's
just kind
fair.
of jumping around. You're just jumping up and down. I stand by my answer.
All right, that's fair. I love it. Let's get into, because we have a lot of mid-major conferences to pick. Let's get into our mid-major madness. Before we do, Home Field, use code Nick15 for 15% off your first purchase at Home Field. Link in the description of this video or in our social media bios. They have first off, they dropped a Dale Earnhardt Jr. line. I'm not a huge NASCAR guy, but holy shit, the Dale line goes incredibly hard. But they are dropping stuff every single Friday for the entire duration of the tournament. They have stuff for Illinois coming out. They have shooting uniforms for like 15 new teams that they're adding. New drops every single Friday at the full length of the tournament. And you can get all of those 15% off with code Nick15 at checkout.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out Home Field. That being said, Nick, let's start predicting these conferences. And we're going to start with the America East. I believe Bryant is currently at the front of the conference. But Nick, who you got in the America East? Because this, I feel like Vermont has been a staple here for a while, but
Yeah, they have. I, out of the America East, think that I would go Bryant, partly because I don't want it to be Vermont. I don't know jack about Maine, Albany, Lowell. I thought was supposed to be good, UMass Lowell or Lowell, Binghamton. I just don't know, right? So if it's Bryant and Vermont, give me Bryant. They played, I think, a week ago, and it was really close at Vermont. But Bryant,
Vermont won that game on the road.
Yeah, but I think like whoever wins this is going to be a 16 seed. But I think I trust Bryant's offense more. Like they can put up if they really want to, they can put up points. I think they put up like 80 on St. John's defense,
Ooh.
they have a very hectic pace of play. So I kind of like them.
Yeah, I like Vermont and I wanted to pick them, but they just have I wish they would have beaten Yale, but Yale's a really, really good team. They have they played Auburn earlier in the season. Nick, what do you think the score of that game was?
Who, Vermont did?
Yeah.
What? Let's see, 112-52.
94-43. So
okay.
in that ballpark. Yeah, I'm going to go with Bryant as well. I do think that they are the best team in this conference. The A-Sun is a really, really interesting league this year. There is a chance, if I am remembering correctly, yes, North Alabama has a shot to make their first NCAA tournament this year if they win the Atlantic Sun. I think that's pretty cool.
Very up for grabs, the A-Sun right now.
Yeah. And I kind of like what North Alabama's doing. North Alabama and Lipscomb, they're both 14-4 in conference play. Lipscomb is the favorite, but I want to ride with some of the good juju that North Alabama has. Lipscomb did win by 12 in their matchup a couple weeks ago. North Alabama has the 2 seed in the tournament because Lipscomb has the head-to-head. But that being said, give me North Alabama just for the fun, for the vibes.
Yeah, and I'll go Lipscomb there. I think Lipscomb's 13 seed. If North Alabama wins, I don't think they can get a 13. I think Lipscomb would be a 13, almost certainly. And they're a type of team that could absolutely beat a 4 seed. So kind of hope Lipscomb could do it. I believe they're top 90, maybe top 80 in the net. They're
87.
87.
Yeah. That is legit. I mean, that's above South Carolina, Minnesota, Providence. So you're up there. Big Sky Conference. Nick, I don't know who I'm going to pick in the Big Sky, and it's because I don't watch a ton of Big Sky basketball. To be honest with you, I like the Vandals. Shout out Idaho, but they are nowhere close. They're 8-9 in conference play. Not sure how I feel. Also, Northern Arizona. I don't know if you saw, they displayed it was like a space themed uniform because they have
Northern Colorado, right?
Yeah, that uniform was disgusting.
In a good way or bad way?
No, awesome. A filthy good way.
That was sick. It was dope.
Yes, it was absolutely sick. Go give it a Google if you are listening at home. But yeah, Montana, Northern Colorado, runaway favorites. Nobody else. They are both 14-3 in conference, and then Portland State and Idaho State are the only 2 teams with double-digit conference wins after them. So why Montana, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, I think Northern Colorado's fun. They just won, obviously, against Northern Arizona, but I shifted over when I scrubbed my bracketology 2 weeks ago. I shifted over to Montana. Just because I was like, you know what? I think maybe it was because Montana beat Northern Colorado on the road, but I was also just looking at some deep metrics and was like, interesting. They played really well against Utah State earlier. They, beat South Dakota State, who's 100th in the net. Montana's not a bad team. So I'll ride with them, but I think that it could. My knowledge is limited. I know Northern Colorado's got they're a very exciting white type of team. Great white sharks of Northern Colorado.
This might be the year for that. I think
I
might go Northern Colorado just because of that. This is the year of the great big whites. Shane Gillis, Cooper DeJean.
No more DEI.
Yeah, give me. I'm going to go Northern Colorado just to be different. The Big South. I love High Point in the Big South. Also, I was doing a little research in the because I made a video on the 5 teams that I think had the best chance to make their first NCAA tournament.
Right.
High Point has a very nice gym. Their gym is
Have they never made it?
They've never made it. High Point has never made the NCAA tournament.
Made it?
Yeah.
Oh, then that's free money because this is by far and away their best team they've ever had. So
Yeah, I'm absolutely riding with them as well. 14-2. Winthrop has 11 conference wins. UNC Asheville has 11 conference wins. But yeah, High Point is just they're 26-5. I mean, they're a legitimately good team.
No, they're also one of the best mid-major offenses I've ever seen. Like they can compete. They can hold their own if they play like a fast-paced team like in Alabama or something. Maybe not Alabama. Alabama's like on steroids, but like Illinois per se, right? Somehow that ends up being a matchup. Give me High Point. I think High Point can do what some of these teams do, Power 5 teams do, but better. I think that I don't know. They're probably as good as New Mexico. I'll say that. So however good you think New Mexico is how good I think High Point is.
Yeah,
maybe that's 11 seed, maybe that's like 7 seed, whatever you decide.
That's crazy, but I love it. I don't hate that at all. I don't hate that at all. I think
obviously, High Point, resume wise, they're like stuck at a 13, maybe a 12, but
yeah, mid-major. We'll talk about another team next week. I think High Point is like one of the 2 best mid-major programs that can make the tournament, and I think the Big West has the other one. But we're going to talk about the Big West next week because their tournament kicks off a little bit later. The Colonial. I want to go Towson here. I feel like we've seen a handful of these teams at the top make tournaments in recent years. UNC Wilmington, Charleston, Towson. UNC Wilmington, is that the team that beat Kentucky at Kentucky last year?
UNC Wilmington did beat Kentucky at Kentucky last year. Good shout.
Yeah,
that happened at Rupp Arena. Yep.
that happened. That's a buy game. The epitome of brutality. Shout out John Rothstein. Rothsteinisms. They just hit different this time of year. Nick, who you got in this conference?
I'm taking UNC Wilmington in this conference. I don't know how Towson is doing what they're doing. Like, they're kind of out of nowhere, in my opinion. And I just to me, it really felt like this was like, okay, Charleston, UNC Wilmington. And then I liked Drexel, and I thought that maybe Monmouth could have done something. But William & Mary's out of nowhere, and Towson is 16-2 in conference. Like, what the hell? Campbell was firing on all cylinders for a while. They've lost 4 straight now, but very strange. I can't get a good read on the CAA at all. I wouldn't be shocked if Hofstra won it and they're 6-12 in conference play, or in Elon, something just bonkers might happen. But I know that I don't want to take Towson because this is a conference where not taking the favorite is probably smart. This is not a time to take a favorite here.
Yeah, I watched Abdi Bashir for Monmouth. He is going to be a Power 5 player next season. He is filthy. Dude averages 20 points a game, 6'7" sophomore. He is.
Wow, he's only a sophomore.
Yeah, he's very, very talented. He is going to be at a Power 5 program next year. That being said, Monmouth is 12-9, so I can't pick them to win the conference because.
No, you could.
I mean, I could, but I'm not going to. That being said, I will. If Monmouth is on the TV and there are some other mid-major games on that I could watch, I'm going to watch Monmouth because Abdi Bashir is incredible. That being said, unfortunately, I'm going to take the chalk pick in Towson here. They're 16-2 in conference play. I get it's one of those where you don't know how they're doing what they're doing.
I don't.
But if they keep winning, none of it matters. So
right, they do keep winning, but I don't get this team really. Did they have a new coach or something? Who's the Towson coach? It just feels out of nowhere. I know that they were competitive. Nick Timberlake, who transferred to Kansas, he was a Towson guy. Towson has been competitive, but they weren't supposed to be this. I don't think they were supposed to win.
I have no idea, truthfully.
Yeah. All right. Well, regardless, fair pick.
Yep. The Horizon League. This is. I had faith in my Purdue Fort Wayne boys this weekend. That was our group of 5 or mid-major game that we picked last week.
Yes, and
you got it
won.
right.
Yes.
Yep, you got the W there. Cleveland State got the win. That being said, this is a conference where the top of it is very, very like thick. Robert Morris, Milwaukee, Cleveland State, Youngstown State, all in kind of that same area. Robert Morris has won 7 consecutive games. They are on a bit of a heater right now. But Nick, who do you have winning this conference?
I'm going Cleveland State, man. Like, there was a point in time during the middle of the season where Cleveland State won, I think, 14 games in a row, or like they had like the longest winning streak in college basketball for a little bit there. And since they have obviously fallen off, given 14-6 in conference play, but they're still clearly, like, to win however many they did in a row, very well coached team. Like maybe they're similar to Towson, but at least like I watched a little bit of the Cleveland State Purdue Fort Wayne game. I can feel it more than I can with Towson. So I'll happily go with Cleveland State. Also, Cody, shout out Detroit Mercy. They have 4 conference wins and 8 wins overall. That is such a massive improvement. Because I think last year, did they win a game? Is the question.
I think they might have.
They were 1-31 last year.
Ooh.
A 7-win improvement for them.
Yeah. Well, it is easier to win conference games when you are playing in a conference with Doug Gottlieb as a head coach. So that could certainly do it. Because Green Bay, yikes. That being said, I'm going to go with Milwaukee. 14-6 in conference play. They're playing pretty decent basketball. In their last 5 games, their only loss is to Robert Morris, but that was at Robert Morris. And they've beaten they've beaten Youngstown State, beat Northern Kentucky by 22. I like Milwaukee, so I'm going to ride with Milwaukee here.
I respect it. Yeah.
The MAAC, the Metro Atlantic. Marist played a hell of a game earlier today. I believe was that a part of conference play, or was that a part of the conference tournament?
That should, I don't know if I'm being honest, but I'm guessing that was
conference play. Yeah, tournament doesn't start till March 11th. You're right.
Okay,
you're right. But yeah, Marist, hell of a comeback win earlier this afternoon. But yeah, who you got?
Yeah, this one's tricky. Marist is what I have written down. And I wanted to shout out Marist. That's who I went to study abroad with. I don't know. This is one of those conferences that, like, I just don't pay attention to. Like, I just don't. So I know it's Quinnipiac could do it. Merrimack could do it. Iona's in there somewhere. Just give me Marist.
Yeah. I do want to correct myself. Marist lost earlier today.
Okay.
Against St. Peter's. I got the score of that game wrong.
Unlucky.
Yeah, this is probably, if you were to put a gun to my head and say, hey, which conference do you know the least about? This is probably on that list.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to go, this is tough, but I'm going to go Mount St. Mary's.
Ooh.
I'm going to go Mount St. Mary's.
Okay.
Why not? Why not? I don't know. Fuck it.
YOLO.
Mount St. Mary's.
YOLO.
That's fun to type out. Nick, the MAC. The MAC is beautiful this year. However, Akron has just been a step above everybody else. Ohio has had some recent tournament success. Who else has there? I'm trying to think of other MAC teams that have made some noise in the tournament recently.
Kent State was in. Buffalo had Nate Oates in 2018-19.
Yep.
But yeah, outside of that, I don't know.
Yeah, I think of Ohio when they had, what the fuck was that kid's name? He was an electric guard.
You're talking about God, what was his name?
That's gonna Ohio guard.
There's a J. I think it starts with a J. It's like Jason. I really want to say it's Jason.
Jason Preston. Yep.
Well, I'm happy with Jason. Good job.
He's currently on a 2-way contract for the Salt Lake City Stars of the NBA G League.
No, not bad. Good for him.
Yeah. Anyway, who you got? Who you picking for the MAC?
Let's see. I'm actually going to change this. Oh, I have Akron for the MAC. Akron is my darling this year. They are awesome. They were. I mean, this is one where it's like you should also pick Akron here. They're bound. They're destined to make the tournament. They are destined.
Yeah, I am absolutely going to pick Akron here. Their last loss in conference play, when the hell was it? Because they lost February
recently.
22nd.
Yeah.
Yeah, they lost February 22nd, which was their first loss since Princeton in December 30th. They've lost one game in 2025. They're
Yep.
playing incredible basketball.
That's one where I'd be pretty heartbroken if they get upset somehow. I would just be very sad.
Do you? Yeah, because they have some wins like against other good Group of Five teams. Like they have a good win against South Alabama, who is at the top. Are they at the top of the?
I think South Alabama is the technical 1 seed in
because they had a 4-way tie.
The Sun Belt. Yeah,
which crazy. But yeah, I like Akron here. I think it's Akron and it's everybody else on the MAC. I don't think there's anybody who's as good. The Mid-Eastern Conference. This would be the other conference. This and the NEC, where I just know so little about the conference.
oh yeah, and the SWAC.
Yeah.
Outside of Mississippi Valley State.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go Norfolk State here, just because they're at the top of the conference in the regular season. Might as well pick them to win the tournament.
South Carolina State works for me. Oh, the Summit.
Yep.
The Summit is going to be tough. Sorry, I'm still going through these kind of just at random, just perusing. What the hell?
Well, let's talk the Missouri Valley Conference, because there are 2 teams here that I think are legitimately good basketball teams. I think that you could make an argument. that if Bradley wins the Missouri Valley, that Drake has a shot at an at-large spot.
Yeah, if Bradley beats Drake, specifically that scenario plays out,
yes,
then I think it would be an absolute crime, like a legitimate sin, to keep Drake out.
Yep.
Given the state of the bubble and given just Drake, I mean, Drake's undefeated in the first 2 quadrants. They're 5-0 against quad 1 and quad 2. I think that's maybe the only team in America who has an undefeated record against those quadrants. They have 3 quad 3 losses, but like so does Memphis, right? Like, so, there are some teams out, like, you play in this conference, their net ranking is right behind Indiana. Like, it's high enough. Their strength of record, 35. Their resume average is incredible. So I think the committee would have to put them in unless they lost like to a Evansville or like if they just lost to like Southern Illinois by 10, then it's like, oh no, Drake, like you keep fuck. So yeah, but I'm gonna go with Bradley here because I want to see it. I want to weed, like, bid stealers are good this year because they weed out the garbage, like your North Carolina that you do not want in.
Yep. And I think this year people are going to get upset if that happens and then they get left out and they're going to go, well, Indiana State got left out. This Indiana State team was better. I get that. Last year's bubble is so much better than this year's bubble. Like the teams of last year's bubble.
Especially with all the bid stealers, right? Like we had the playing games were 10 seeds.
Oh, we had an unprecedented amount of bid stealers last year.
So Colorado State, who I would have said is like a strong 7 seed, they were a play-in team. The only mistake last year was Virginia making it. Virginia was disgusting. That was almost the committee being like, oh, you know what? We really don't care about the eye test, and we're going to prove it to you by putting Virginia in. Eye test doesn't mean anything to us. The eye test has to mean at least a little bit. If you watched Virginia play last year, you watched them too many times put up 17 points and a half, where it's like
they had 19 points in the first half of the tournament game against Colorado.
Yeah, bingo. Bingo was his freaking name-o.
Yeah, disgusting.
Right.
But yeah, I'm going Drake just because I do think that they are the best team in that conference. But the Missouri Valley definitely going to be an interesting one. The Northeast Conference, I believe, and I saw this today on Twitter, so take it for what it's worth. I think Central Connecticut has the longest win streak of any team in college hoops right now. I think it's at 14 games.
Wow.
If I'm not mistaken.
CCSU. Wow. Yeah, well, they're my pick for sure. They also, I feel like they were like the front runner last year, all year until the very end when they got upset. What is this conference? The NEC Northeast?
Yeah,
Yeah, who who the hell beat them? Or did they make it?
I'm not
I don't.
sure because Fairleigh Dickinson was what 2 years ago.
Uh-huh. Now this is some crazy trivia here, but we're gonna have to put a pause until we figure this out because I don't
NEC 2024 champion. Oh Jesus, Wagner.
really.
Wagner.
Wow, I don't remember that in the slightest. Yeah, they played
Yep.
UNC first round.
Yep.
Nope, don't remember.
Yeah.
They were a
Well, I
six
don't think
seed
it's
in
going
the
to be Wagner
NEC.
this year because they're 6-10. So they're
Well,
6-10 in
Wagner
conference play.
last year was the sixth seed in the NEC. Now this year they're the 7. So
Ooh.
it's not that different. Crazy stuff can happen, but I'm gonna go CCSU because they this is their year. It's their time.
Yep, I am also going CCSU. Keeping it moving to the Ohio Valley Conference. This is, I just don't know how to feel about any team in here. I really don't. Because I don't think any of them are really any good. And like that, I feel like that's a
Yeah, I
conference
agree.
where none of them, there's not like one team that stands above the rest. That's when you can get a 6-7 seed in the tournament to win it all. So,
Yeah,
Nick,
you can go
who do you
crazy
got?
here. What are you doing?
Who do you have in this one?
Well, yeah, I'm thinking like you almost are about to convince me to take like an Eastern Illinois or something. You know, like just absolute nonsense could happen. But I am taking. Um, you know what? Maybe I will change. Maybe I'll go Tennessee State. That's what I'll do. I'll go Tennessee State here. I doubt they've ever made it.
Yeah.
I was gonna go Arkansas Little Rock, but like they're kind of a staple. You know what? I'm gonna keep it.
So,
Little Rock
okay, so
just
you're
feels
keeping
right.
Arkansas Little Rock.
Yes, it feels right. That just feels how it's just feels right.
That's fair.
You gotta go with your gut.
I am going to pick Tennessee State then. I just not
Okay.
quite middle of the pack in the conference, a little bit better than middle of the pack, but
No, they're
that's
certainly not. They're not terrible.
yep.
Ooh, the Patriot League, Cody. I am fired up about the Patriot League. Patriot League. This conference.
So this is a Colgate is the name that everybody knows from this conference. And
Oh, yeah.
Colgate has made like 7 of the last 8 tournaments. And every year people pick like, Colgate, this could be the year. Colgate does it. Fun fact, Colgate has never won a tournament game. They're 0-7 or 0-8.
Yeah. They haven't gotten that close. I think 2022 against Wisconsin, they were tied with like 4 minutes left.
Yep.
Outside of that, though, it's genuinely just been like, oof, God. But I will counter by saying like this. So this conference is tragically bad this year. I think they have one win outside of in the top 2 quadrants. There's only one win, and it is Colgate has that win. And then there are 5 or 6 wins in quad 3 and all like 180 wins outside of those 9 or 7, whatever I just said. All 180 are in quad 4. And guess who has half of the quad 3 wins?
I'm going to say one of the service academies, Army or Navy.
It's Holy Cross, who's 308 in the net and second to last place in the conference or last place. They have half of the quad 3 wins.
And they're 13-18.
Right. So if you sorted this conference by strength of record, Holy Cross, who is terrible and last in the conference, would be second behind American. If you sorted by KenPom, everything changes. This conference is separated by 100 spots on KenPom. Outside
top to bottom?
Top to bottom, 100 spots. It's like 94 spots that separate.
That's crazy.
They're all the same, and they're not like the worst teams in the world. They're all from like 220 to 310. And you look through some games and you see that every single team has beat each other. So and if Holy Cross is in last and we know what they can do, well, then in my opinion, this is the first time in my life that I'm willing to say every team should have even odds. I don't think there's a favorite. I think this is a true coin flip of a conference.
What does the Patriot League bracket look like?
This is a crapshoot, and it's amazing. I can't wait to watch it.
Does the Patriot League bracket have like a normal ass bracket?
I hope so.
It seems like it. It seems like it's just a normal because you have like Sunbelt has the goofy ass fucking bracket. So I just wanted to make sure that the Patriot League has like a normal bracket, and they do. So that like the top 2 teams get a bye, and that's it. So yeah, anybody could win this conference, Nick. That's nuts. Who do you have?
I'm going with Navy. I'm going to just take Navy.
Okay.
Like I feel like it's been a while since we had a Service Academy basketball representative, right? Unless I'm tripping, but
Army has never made the NCAA tournament. Fun fact. I found that out in my research.
And it could be them this year as well. I think I watched maybe like a Navy game one time this year, and I think they were getting throttled, but I saw signs of life. I mean, let's look. What would have? Oh no, it was Navy Virginia Tech, and Navy actually played like they were like tied with like a couple minutes left. So that makes sense then. Yeah, it was like Virginia Tech stinks, but I've had Navy in my back pocket for a little bit.
I love that. I was going to pick Army.
Oh, you should.
Yeah, I wanted to. Unfortunately, they have lost 3 consecutive games because I was doing my research on the teams that had the best chance to make the tournament for the first time. And I was like, oh, Army could. And then I saw that they were coming off back-to-back losses. And I was like, fuck. I don't feel as confident picking them.
They did just lose to Bucknell by 30.
Yeah.
So that one.
Which is subsequently why I'm picking Bucknell. Because I was like, oh, they beat the team that I was going to pick by 30. Now I'm going to pick Bucknell.
But if you go back, Cody, 15 days before, Army beat Bucknell. And that's what I mean with this conference, is this is not the type of conference that you can scoreboard watch and be like, you know what, like this is like nothing, like you might think it makes sense looking at it. No, this is the Patriot League we're talking about. It's going to be wild.
Army beat Bucknell 2 weeks ago in double overtime, 116 to 110. What a wild ass game. Yeah. That's incredible. Oh man. All right, that's enough about the Patriot League. On to the Southern Conference, SoCon. There's a couple of standard teams in here that you're used to seeing. Furman got the huge win over, I believe that was Virginia. Was that last year or was that 2 years ago that Furman got the upset?
That was 2
years ago. Incredible game. But I'm used to like Samford, you see all the time. Chattanooga, who's at the top of the conference now, you see them quite a bit. There are a handful of teams that you're fairly used to seeing in the NCAA tournament.
It's a fun conference. It's a good conference. The SoCon. And Samford should have beat Kansas. Furman did win. And then the year before that, Chattanooga was leading Illinois for 59 minutes and 59 seconds and lost in that 4 versus 13 seed matchup. So it does feel like Wofford got a 7 seed with Fletcher McGee. You remember that? 2019?
Yes, Fletcher McGee. He was electric from beyond the arc.
Mercer beat Duke in 2013-14 season. They beat Duke. Yep. That was the Jabari Parker Duke team. So these teams are like, this is a fun conference, and I'm excited for this conference tournament. It's also similarly a massive toss-up. Chattanooga feels like the pick, but part of me is like, okay, Chattanooga is certainly not running away with this conference. UNC Greensboro is probably better than them. Samford might be better than them. Like, it's pretty even. So Chattanooga's due for a loss. And then it's just you're picking from Chattanooga down to Wofford. Who do you want? Because they're all pretty much the same. And I'm going to go with Wofford. I'm going to go like this will be maybe my biggest upset pick.
Love it.
But I can see it.
Yeah, I'm rolling with Samford here. And it is solely based off of the one time I watched Samford play earlier this season. They gave, God damn it,
Michigan
who was
State.
it? Yes. Yeah. They gave Michigan State, 83-75. They gave them a good game. They've also beaten some of the other teams that I have picked to win conferences or close to it. They beat Utah Valley, who's a pretty damn good team. They beat North Alabama on the road there. So I like the Samford squad. I think they have some pretty respectable wins. So I'm going Samford.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think I'm looking at Wofford here as a win at St. Louis that I like. They beat North Alabama. They lost to Duke 86-35. But what are you going to do? It's Duke.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hey,
Wofford's certainly both, but I feel like the SoCon feels pretty open to me. So YOLO.
there are like ACC teams that have lost to Duke by more than what Samford lost to Duke. So,
Well, yeah, Illinois lost by more.
yeah, jeez. Which Illinois, phenomenal win. So,
Great win today.
yep.
All right. Speaking of conferences that are not really up for grabs, they're not going to be chaotic. The Southland. I don't really think we need to discuss much here, Cody. But you can give your thoughts if you so please.
They have the drippiest equipment manager of all time. Have you seen the video of that guy going viral? It's incredible.
Awesome. It's so good.
Fuck yeah. So give me McNeese. I need to see more of that guy.
State, and they're 18-1 in conference. They've lost like one conference game in the past 700 days, something like that. It's crazy. So the SWAC, this has got to be the worst conference to ever exist. The SWAC, especially.
It's bad.
Well, maybe not this year. Southern at least has a winning record, but they're the only ones.
Yeah.
There's one team with a winning record.
Jackson State is 11-17. They're 11-4 in conference.
Yeah,
they did not win a single non-conference game.
I genuinely think that these schools exist just as like they just in the non-con. Look at their non-conference schedule. They're playing strictly competent teams. They play Kentucky, Xavier, Houston, Vanderbilt, and then you're like Iowa State, Lipscomb, Arkansas State, High Point, like teams that are hoping to get into the tournament. This is like I don't know what you would call it, but it's like a fake conference that just exists to boost resumes.
It is the FCS schools that you see in College Football 25. Like that's what it is. It's like the schools that aren't real in the game that they use to like. And I shout out the SWAC. Like I like a lot of these programs in football, but like in basketball, it's bad. It is what it is.
Yeah, in Mississippi Valley State, which is maybe the worst team to ever touch the ground, just touch a basketball at all. They played Iowa State. They played Missouri, Texas, Kansas State, BYU, Utah. Those were their first games of the season. They literally lost all of them by like 80 points.
Mississippi Valley State
by 70. My God.
They just lost to Arkansas Pine Bluff, who is the second worst team in the SWAC and is 6-23 by like 30 points. So
Arkansas Pine Bluff is the second worst team in the country.
Yes.
And the WAC. And then Prairie View A&M's right there as well. But yeah, Pine Bluff won by 25. This conference, like, what is the point of it existing in basketball?
It's bad.
I think it's bad. Literally, like, it's just it's fake. It's fake. That's great.
That being said, I'm gonna go with Bethune-Cookman because
all right.
Sure.
Ed Reed.
Yep. Which didn't he get fired by Bethune-Cookman?
Yeah.
So
I think he worked there for like a week.
Yeah, tough.
But I'll never forget. All right, the Summit. The Summit's very fun.
Yep. The Summit League is very fun. And fun fact, did not realize this. Omaha, who is in the first place in the Summit League, they have never made the NCAA tournament. So
this is a very big deal for Omaha.
Yeah. So that's going to be my pick because I want Omaha to make their first NCAA tournament. I think that would be very cool for the program there. So yeah, give me Omaha.
You know what I'm going to do, Cody, is I'm going to go with a team that also has never made the tournament in St. Thomas, Minnesota. But, oh no, St. Thomas, Minnesota, not eligible to make the tournament because of the stupid bullshit rule. That's the stupidest thing in the world. I think this might have happened last year. I think St. Thomas might have won the conference tournament last year. But
there was a conference. It's not the Summit, and I can't remember the conference, but there's so many new, I think it was the NEC. There's so many new schools that they're like the fourth place person in the conference could technically be the NCAA tournament bid.
That's insane. I have not heard of that. If you find that, send that to me. If that was like a video or tweet or article or something, but that's crazy. But yeah, I'm going to go with St. Thomas, and then hopefully it's just like, okay, St. Thomas won, but whatever, let's give it to Omaha. And then Omaha gets to reap the rewards, but St. Thomas is like, we won the Summit. Yay, that's our title. Everyone's happy. I really think South Dakota State or North Dakota State could easily just detonate their way to the title game here as well. And it's just fool's gold. But we'll see.
Yep. Next up is the Sun Belt Conference. And if you have not seen it, you will see it. If you can find it on Twitter, Instagram, it's everywhere. The Sun Belt Conference has the wildest bracket that you will ever see for a conference tournament ever. And it is, if you are at the bottom end of that conference, you have to win like 10 straight games in order to make the conference tournament or the national title tournament. God, that was poorly worded. But anyway, there are 4 teams that tied for first in the regular season for the Sun Belt. Troy, South Alabama, James Madison, and Arkansas State. I think that there's no doubt that one of those 4 teams, just because of how the tournament's set up, will win the conference. That being said, I have no idea which one. They all have the same odds in my mind.
Yeah, it's literally this is a huge coin flip conference with those.
It's a 4-way coin flip. It's crazy.
It is. And I think that I just want, like, South Alabama would be cool, but I'm going to go with Troy because it feels like JMU was there last year. Arkansas State, I mean, I don't know who normally wins out of this conference. Georgia State was RJ Hunter. Yeah, golly. All right, well, I'm just going to go with Troy. YOLO.
Yep. I'm going to go with JMU because they do have the most amount of buys that you can get. And I think it would be really funny if JMU was in the tournament. So give me JMU.
Yeah, after losing their head coach to Vandy.
Yep.
Who we didn't talk about it, but quick shout out to Vandy. If you're a Vandy fan and you're still listening, there you go.
Huge win. The WCC, I'm picking St. Mary's. They've been the best team in the conference all year.
Mm-hmm.
Give me St. Mary's.
Yeah, I'm going to go Gonzaga because beating Gonzaga 3 times is crazy. And Gonzaga is definitely playing a lot better right now. Definitely. So I was, for a while, I was going to be like, oh, maybe I'll go Santa Clara here, or something. But Gonzaga now I think is kind of playing like juggernaut style basketball again. So we'll see.
Yep. And then the Western Athletic Conference, the WAC, Grand Canyon came into the season as the presumptive favorite for this conference. And Utah Valley, Nick, another school that has never made the national tournament. And I'm going to go with Utah Valley.
Oh, you are? I was going to go Utah Valley as well.
Their court, I think it might be a top, just the physical court itself, I think might be a top 5 court in the sport. It's beautiful.
Well, I love the Utah Valley pick. I'm going to go Grand Canyon just to be different because I just figured that you were going to go Grand Canyon. But yeah, they are super close, super similar teams. They've beaten each other. It'll be great. It's a 2-man race, kind of like the Big West with Irvine and UC San Diego, but we'll talk about that next week. Also, I just scrolled down and I see that we have game picks and previews, which I don't think I knew that we had those. I thought we were just going to do this, but do you want to just no explanation, rapid fire them?
Let's rattle them off. We'll give notes, but nothing crazy.
I might not even get notes here. I might just go.
Yeah. Game picks and previews. Auburn at A&M. A&M's kind of sliding a little bit. I'm taking Auburn. Love it. The next game up, BYU at Iowa State. Iowa State, tough at home. I'm going with the clones.
I'm going Iowa State as well. BYU is they're due for a loss. They're due for a little bit of a humbling. If they win that game, though, they get up to a 7 seed, and then they wouldn't have to deal with the whole Mormon can't play on Sunday dilemma. So maybe they have extra motivation. That's my note. But I'm still going to go Iowa State.
That's a great point. Next up, Arkansas at Vanderbilt. 2 teams that are playing good basketball.
Great basketball. Well, Arkansas just got detonated on, but they were playing great before that.
Yep. I'm going to go Vandy. I think they keep it rolling.
Yeah, and I will go with Arkansas. I think Arkansas needs it a little bit more, and I think talent-wise they're pretty even.
Yep. Moving on to Wednesday's games, Maryland at Michigan. I think Maryland, unfortunately, I think that Michigan State shot might have killed them. I think it might have killed them. I love the Crab 5, but give me Michigan here.
Yeah, I mean, they looked not great against Penn State, but that was a road game. This is also a road game, and Michigan will be coming off of a pretty bad loss to Illinois. So I think just unlucky for Maryland that they're just going to get kind of a vengeance version of Michigan that they'll probably lose by like 2 points to, right? Because Michigan always plays in close games. Guess so does Maryland. Maryland, all their wins and losses are all like within 5 points.
Yep. Florida at Alabama. Alabama's last 2 games of the season. They get Florida at home, and then they have to go on the road at Auburn after losing to Tennessee on Saturday. Just an incredibly tough slate. I think Alabama has to win one of these. If they are going to win one of them, I think it's going to be the one at home. So give me Alabama here.
Gosh, I guess. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm going to go Alabama here as well. You know, they have to go at Auburn on Saturday, which is very tough. So I'll go Bama.
Yep.
Bama's so good.
Yep. Missouri at Oklahoma. I picked Oklahoma against Kentucky earlier last week. I was so fucking close. I want to chase that high again. Give me Oklahoma.
Okay, I'm going to go Missouri. I'll just play my cards here. Same way. Same thing.
Yep. Marquette at UConn.
Tough one. I want to take Marquette, but I'm going to take UConn at home. Given the fact that Marquette hosts St. John's on Saturday, which I will be taking Marquette in that game instead.
So I am going to be the opposite. I'm going to take Marquette in this one, and then I will likely take St. John's in the next. Friday night, Purdue at Illinois. Illinois coming off of a huge win. Purdue coming off of a much-needed win against UCLA. I'm riding with Purdue here. Give me the Boilermakers. Boiler the fuck up. I think they had a players-only meeting, Nick, so take that for what it's worth.
They did, but it feels like maybe Illinois did as well because they swallowed Michigan whole on the road and beat them by 20. You know, just a week ago, they lost to Duke by 712 points. So something must have changed, or Michigan just is not that good, which I have theorized. But we'll see. I'll go Illinois. They're at home.
Yep. St. John's at Marquette. I already said my piece. I'm taking the Johnnies here. If Rick Pitino wears a white suit in the NCAA tournament, I might pick him to go to the Final Four. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
The white suit goes so fucking hard, dude.
The Godfather, baby. He's so electric. Indiana. That's going to be tough.
You're taking
going
Marquette
here,
right?
if that's what we were just doing. Marquette, yeah? For me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Kentucky at Missouri. Fuck, man.
Really tough.
I think I'm going to pick Missouri.
Same.
But this game's going to be an electric offensive performance in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm taking Missouri twice this week. But I don't know. When teams host Kentucky, like I feel like the SEC is so good this year, and Kentucky's just such a big brand that they're getting, you know, like the best performance from every single team whenever they go on the road. And it's just brutal. They just have a brutal schedule. So they might end up like 9-11 in the SEC or whatever they're 9-9, let's say.
Yeah.
Which would be crazy because they'd probably still be a 3 seed.
Yep. Mississippi State at Arkansas. I think Mississippi State is kind of reeling a little bit. I'm going to take Arkansas here. They got shit pumped on Saturday. When did they lose bad?
Mississippi State? Well, yeah, they're mortal enemy of the pod. I'm taking Arkansas.
Yep.
I mean, Arkansas shit pumped, but no, Mississippi State won on Saturday.
Who did they?
They played LSU. They won by 12.
Oh, they got shit pumped by Bama earlier in the week.
Yes,
that was
happened,
yep.
and that was a shit pumping. So correct word.
You're right. Alabama at Auburn. Do you think this will be a 1-2 game? Probably not, since Bama lost to Tennessee. Probably won't be another 1-2 matchup.
No. It will not be. Duke. There's no reason for Duke not.
Oh yeah, Duke.
Number 2 right now.
Yep. That being said, Auburn at home. I'm taking Auburn.
Yes, same. I'm taking Auburn as well. Ohio State, Indiana. This is the one that I groaned about because this is win or leave or loser leaves town. Like
one of these teams is going to make the tournament. I think
the winner of this game is probably in because Ohio State would have 14 regular season losses if they lost this one. That, in my opinion, is kind of inexcusable. Indiana just losing at home late in the season to Ohio State, quad 2 loss, it would just be detrimental for them. So, but I'm going to go with Indiana.
I am also going with Indiana. I don't know why, but I feel like they're almost playing for their head coach, which is interesting since he's on the way out. But hey,
Yeah, that's all it took was him announcing his retirement for them to try.
yeah. Arizona at Kansas. You could put I will not pick Kansas ever again at any point in any game the rest of the year. I just simply will refuse to do it. Give me Arizona.
So fair. That's sadly that's the exact reason why I'm going to, because like that's just how it goes. So I'm trying to play a little 3D chess, be like, well, I don't want to. I've denounced them, but this would be the time that they, beat Arizona by 10. Everyone's like, oh, okay, I guess they're fine, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And then they lose early in the tournament, which is what I want to happen. So
yep.
So I'm
Houston
gonna go
at. Okay. Yep. Cool. Kansas. Houston at Baylor. I am fascinated by this game. I'm fascinated by this game because this game I feel like is going to tell me a lot about Houston. I'm picking Houston.
Well,
but I'm nervous.
Houston's like 32-4 in the Big 12 since joining the Big 12. They don't lose. Like they just cruise and cruise and cruise. So this is a very bold pick on my end, but I'm going to go with Baylor just because I think Baylor has the talent. I think they have the coaching. And I think that if Scott Drew can get them to buy in, like, hey, all you need to do to make the tournament, all you need to do is win this game. That's literally it. Outside of that, you can go lose first round in the conference tournament. You can do whatever you want. Beat Houston. We're at home. Crowd's going to be crazy. Just go do it. I think they can.
Love it. Love it. And then Sunday, Michigan at Michigan State should be. Actually, I don't think it's going to be that good of a game. I think Michigan State at home at the Breslin Center. I think they beat Michigan's ass. I think Michigan State proves that they are the best team in the Big Ten this season. Give me Michigan State.
Yeah, I mean, I'm Michigan State's certainly playing very well, but like the today against Wisconsin, like the crowd was just so like the crowd had a lot of control in that game from what I could tell. I do think Wisconsin's right there as far as who I would want to represent, the Big Ten representative, I suppose, or who I would pick from the Big Ten. So, but Michigan, yeah, they're not there. So I'll take Michigan State.
Yep. Absolutely love it. We will pick all of the Power 5 or Power 6 schools and then whatever group of 5 or mid-major schools that we didn't hit this week on next week's episode. So make sure to check that out. It is March. It is the best time of the year. And be a friend, tell a friend. If you have somebody who is getting geared up for college basketball, getting excited for the tournament, send them this podcast. It's the best way to help us grow. We just crossed 540 subscribers on YouTube. We're about to cross 100 subs on Spotify. It is greatly appreciated. Thank you all so much. Happy fucking March, Nick. It's incredible. We're here.
This is March. This
Love
is
to see
March.
it.
Let's go.
And we will see you in the next one.
Yes, sir. Adios.